Hello, this will be a video where I'm gonna show you the top 10 champions to main to climb elo easily and get good. First on the list is Vayne. This steady marksman is notorious for her hyper-aggressive playstyle, outplay potential and ability to single-handedly carry her team to victory. If the Night Hunter manages by some miracle to win her lane, then the enemy team is in for a very bad time. Her kit really capitalizes on the mistakes your opponents make, while the Night Hunter's stealth and tumble mechanic, with added true damage from silver bolts, can allow her to easily decimate entire teams. She receives a fair amount of hate considering her abundant weaknesses, but if you can get past her flaws, then the Rift will quickly become your stomping ground. Second one is Darius. The Hand of Noxus has been doing very well this meta, and it's not hard to see why. He trades well in laning phase, and his ultimate resets in team fights can be utterly game-changing, especially when he has access to enemy carries. With so many teams grouping up for Rift Herald, Dragon, and the all-important Baron, Darius is the perfect champion to snowball off these potential fights. If he manages to storm his way into your backline, it's game over. His sustain from Decimate and prioritization of Black Cleaver and Ravenous Hydra give him the survivability he needs to remain on the offensive. If you're tired of losing team fights, then this bloodthirsty Noxian could help fix your late-game woes. Even Zed mains can't deny how utterly annoying the Master of Shadows can be. He's not a fun champion to face, especially when ahead. The Slippery Assassin is banned in most games for a reason, and it's not hard to see why. His obnoxiously strong ability to wipe your entire team can often lead to an early surrender, while also greatly limiting what champions you can pick. Zed's insanely high damage makes him the bane of any carry's life, a life that is usually snuffed out by his ult, Death Mark. Understandably, many players quickly become tilted by his mid-lane antics, so if you do decide to pick up the Master of Shadows, you may want to consider muting the enemy team. Katarina has the potential to become a pentakill machine in the late game. The Sinister Blade has no mana constraints, so she can happily spam abilities over and over again without a care in the world. In team fights, Katarina just needs to wait patiently until her teammates chip away enough health before she can go nuts with her ultimate. If she manages to kill a target, then her cooldowns are significantly reduced and Rift quickly becomes a haze of blood and daggers. Positioning is key when mastering the Sinister Blade, as you need to constantly be aware of your surroundings, enemies, bouncing blades and minions if you want to maximize your damage. If you master Katarina, you'll be on your way to creating impressive plays in no time. The next one is Fizz. The Tidal Trickster's kit is great at punishing the smallest of mistakes, leading to moments that can tilt even the calmest of players. If Fizz manages to snowball a lead, there's very little you can do. The aptly named Trickster is great at roaming, tower diving and dodging incoming attacks thanks to the slippery nature of his kit. Nimble Fighter allows him to perpetually ghost and take less physical damage from basic attacks, while playful, Trickster makes him completely untargetable. Combine this with Fizz's ability to one-shot squishy targets and melt group teams with Chum of the Waters, and you have all the ingredients for a successful win. You like crazy mechanics? The Exile has always been a favorite among players looking to deliver high damage. Mobile plays ever since her initial release back in 2011. League of Legends may have changed a lot since Riven's first appearance, but this terrifying top laner is still a staple pick for those who wish to crush their enemies. Surviving the early game can be a little tricky, especially if you're laning against a poke-heavy champion, but once you have access to Valor's shield and the knock-up from Key Burst, you'll be able to start making offensive plays. Once Riven enters the mid-game, she'll have access to items like Black Cleaver and Youmuu's Ghost Blade. These core items greatly bolster the Exile's damage and give her the power and survivability she needs to crush those that dare oppose her. If you can get past Riven's lackluster early game and learn the intricacies of her kit, then you'll be carrying games in no time. This list is getting more fun, as Kha'Zix has been a hotly contested jungle pick among casual and pro players for years thanks to his ability to single-handedly carry games. The Void Reaver is great at dueling and can easily win most 1v1 trades, especially when catching out of position targets. Kha'Zix's evolved abilities also allow the Void monster to adapt to most situations. For example, Kha'Zix's non-evolved Void Spike can be used to solely heal Kha'Zix, while the evolved form, Evolved Spike Cracks, can slow enemies, giving his carries plenty of damage and escape opportunities. Unlike a lot of the champions on this list, Kha'Zix doesn't require a lot of kills or items to snowball games. In fact, once the Void Reaver snags a few early game kills and gets access to Duskblade, there's usually very little the enemy jungler can do to stop him from snowballing further. While the Void Reaver may lack the CC and utility of tank junglers, his high damage can single-handedly turn the tide of many a team fight. This monster called Kassadin has a notoriously weak early game, and he's at his most vulnerable when he doesn't have access to Riftwalk. However, if you can make it to level 6 without feeding your lane opponent, then you'll find that this masterful mage scales incredibly well into the late game. Once the Void Walker has access to Rod of Ages, Archangel's Staff, and Lich Bane, he has the ability to melt multiple targets before they can even react. There's a reason why Kassadin remains a popular pick in Korea, 8.88% pick rate, so don't be surprised if you see this masterful mage blow up entire teams with his AMP burst damage. Unlike most AMP mid laners, Kassadin excels at split pushing thanks to the high burst damage from Force Pulse, which absolutely melts minion waves. Make sure you take Summoner Teleport to further increase your roaming capabilities and overall kill potential. Lord Vlad Crimson Reaper is no stranger to the solo carry spotlight, and players have been using his high burst damage to melt down enemy champs for years. Once Vladimir has access to Hexed Protobelt, Sorcerer's Shoes, and Rabadon's Death Cap, there's very little you can do to stop his climb to the top. In fact, even the tankiest of foes struggle to survive against his blood-soaked antics. After all, being able to 1v5 is incredibly easy thanks to Vlad's insane healing from Transfusion, Sanguine Pool, and Hemoplague. Killing Vladimir is incredibly difficult and can be an impossible feat in the late game when he's able to simply out-heal all the damage he takes during 1v5 engages. Rushing down foes and destroying them with waves of burst damage has never been so easy. The one and only true hyper carry, the Undying Jax, is the last on this cause he is the perfect example of a champion that scales very well with levels and gets a huge power spike in the late game. The Grandmaster at Arms excels at split-pushing towers and shredding through anyone who dares get in his way. While exceptionally skilled with virtually every conceivable weapon, he chooses to fight with the lamppost in order to give his opponents a sporting chance. If you've ever played against Jax, you'll know just how scary this lamppost-wielding champ can be. He may have a weak laning phase, but once you have access to your Trinity Force, you'll be smashing your opponents into oblivion game after game. Thank you for watching, and if you want more of this top-tier lists, I will be glad making more for you. Subscribe and leave a like to encourage this boy, and may the League gods be with you.